Hello dear friends, my name is Dr. Uliana Gut and welcome to my lovely clinic in Harley Street, London. Now, on behalf of Skintellectuals, I'd like to share some information with you regarding the Skintellectuals bleaching microemulsions, so everything about pigmentation and how to help our patients. Now, I'd like to talk about some interesting products, but before we do so, let me just hone in on the story of melanin synthesis pathways and transportation. Now, you all know this, but let's just have a little recap. Take a look at this image. Now, melanin pigment is produced in the melanosome, we know that, an organelle located in the cytoplasm of the melanocytes. Now, once the melanin, of course, is synthesized within the melanosome, it migrates into the dendrite tips of the melanocytes. Each melanocyte is in contact, on average, with around 36 keratinocytes, forming what we call as an epidermal melanin unit. Now, the melanin in the melanocyte is then incorporated into the keratinocytes of the epidermal melanin unit or into the dermals layer, and so you see what we see in our patients, which is pigmentation manifested. Now, there are many different things that we hear our patients complain about when it comes to pigmentation. Many patients will talk about melasma. Now, we know melasma is a hormone-based pathogenesis and it can happen at any stage of a woman's reproductive cycle age. So when it comes to things like lentigo, we see lentigines a lot in our patients, and again, the older the patient, the more lentigines we come across. Now, in some countries, it's very popular to tan, to go on sunbeds to get a bit more tan. So this creates tanning bed lentigines, of course. So it's dependent on use of sunbeds. And of course, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation we see after mechanical stress to the skin. So for example, acne, we see it after certain procedures, resurfacing procedures, chemical peels or lasers, for example. And finally, under eye circles or under eye tear trough pigmentation. And again, one of the many different reasons for why we see it, but one of them is the melanin deposition in the tear troughs. So I'm sure many of your patients have lots of these presentations. Now, what I really want to do for a moment is just to take a look at this slide. And this is talking about the different ways to inhibit melanin production and transportation in the skin. Now, you all know this data, but let's just have a look at this. So there are different classes of melanin production inhibition. So if you look at the column on the left, let's run through it together very briefly. So the most famous one, of course, is tyrosinase inhibitors. So the most important one we all know about is, of course, hydroquinone. We use 4% in the UK and many other countries. Lots of data showing the improvement. So this is often known as the gold standard of depigmentation around the world. Now, other tyrosinase inhibitors or competitive tyrosinase inhibitors are resveratrol, arbutin, azelaic acid, etc. Now, another class is your melanosome transfer inhibitors. So look at this, it's your niacinamide, your ascorbic acids, okay? Another variant is your melanocyte cytotoxic agents. Now have a look, hydroquinone is one of those, as well as azelaic acid, which we often hear about. Now, retinoids are a very important class of depigmenters. And of course, they reduce tyrosinase activity and increase the bioavailability of other depigmenting agents. That's why we often use it with the addition of others. So for example, retinoic acid we hear about. There are different types of retinol, retinaldehydes, for example, many different varieties to be aware of. And finally, we have our class of peeling agents. Now, I'm an avid peeler, I love it, I think it's a great treatment. So glycolic, salicylic, you've got, for example, other modalities in there that help to exfoliate skin and remove the pigmentation. So what I want to do now is just to hone in on this slide. So Skintellectual alpha arbutin. Now let's just have a look at this molecular structure and why it's important for us and our patients. Chemically, L-arbutin consists of a molecule of hydroquinone bound to glucose. And traditionally, arbutin was derived from plants and is used in Japanese history and culture for whitening of the skin. Yeah. Now, arbutin can inhibit the pigment of UV radiation in human skin on average around 43.5%. That's great, that's really good. And it's hypothesized that arbutin can be hydrolysed by skin microflora to hydroquinone. So I want to show you a collection of studies, because studies is data, data is evidence. We want to see the evidence. There are so many studies out there, really good high quality studies. Morag et al., Ertam et al. 2008, Croco et al. 2015, Pornicorn 2010, all showing statistically significant lightening in cases of melasma, sometimes with arbutin used as a standalone molecule and sometimes in combination with things such as your niacinamides, your retinaldehydes, bisabolol, Q-switched ND-yaglases, etc. So the data is there for us. So let's have a look at the Skintellectual alpha arbutin formulated in hyalosphere technology. So this is the product on your right. So you've got the prolonged activity of L-arbutin due to the hyalosphere patented technology. It has good penetration provided by its particle size. And the hydration of the skin is improved due to the low molecular hyaluronic that's incorporated inside. And it has a high stable concentration of alpha-arbutin, which is very important. Stability is very crucial when it comes to depigmentation. So in summary, Skintellectuals have provided us with a very interesting product, which can be used for the face, the neck, the décolleté, the body, in fact, for all age groups, all genders, all skin types. It's important to have something like this in your armamentarium for your patients. Particularly now, we're seeing so many patients with maskne, and then after maskne we get pigmentation, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So this molecule here, this product, can be used very efficiently and effectively for all of our patients, particularly in this new world we live in. So with that in mind, we hope you enjoyed this mini lecture on Skintellectual solutions, and do let us know if you have any questions. Thank you everyone, take care from London, bye bye.